Katherine Newman is the System Chancellor for Academic Programs at the University of Massachusetts. She's also written a book called Rampage, The Social Roots of School Shootings. She joins us live now from Boston. Really good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. Firstly, the US president, in the wake of this terrible tragedy, urged lawmakers to stand up to the US gun lobby, the NRA. Why hasn't that been possible until now?
The NRA is extraordinarily powerful. It provides a massive amount of financial support to the campaigns of Republicans. And the Republican Party doesn't seem to want to listen to their own voters who, by a very large margin, do support additional gun control measures. So it's one of the flaws of the American system that we can't seem to get the will of the people through the legislature, which is a tragedy.
Now, a lot of analysts despaired that after the Sandy Hook school shooting, nothing really changed by way of tighter gun controls. Do you expect anything to change in the wake of this shooting?
I don't know how much will change legislatively, but actually in the wake of Sandy Hook, there were some major legal cases that I think will have ramifications. For the first time, gun manufacturers will have liable, and some of the more insane media figures who fomented various conspiracy theories were also held liable. So I think in some respects, the court decisions may be even as important as the legislative bodies. But fundamentally, we have to get control of this, not just through gun legislation, which is very important, but we also have to understand the etiology of these cases. There are things we could do. There is information we could try to intercept that something horrible like this is coming, because the shooters are almost always looking for attention, and they do tend to broadcast, sometimes in very muddy and confusing ways, but they do tend to broadcast their intentions. People in their environment are aware that they're very troubled. And in some of the cases that I've studied, they told the children and, told dozens of people that they were worried that something was coming, but that information never got to adults or to law enforcement. We need to do a better job of intercepting that information and acting on it.
Meanwhile, the NRA looks set to go ahead with its meeting that's due to take place on Friday in Houston, Texas, just a few hours' drive away from Uvalde, the site of this latest school shooting. How do you expect people there will address what's just happened in a nearby town, essentially?
Well, they will do what they usually do, I imagine, is they will call for arming teachers. They will call for putting security guards in schools. They will try to harden targets, and none of that is going to work. In general, most of the time, not in this particular instance perhaps, but most of the time, the shooters are people who, in a sense, belong in the school or who have been in the school, for years. So hardening against outsiders usually just makes it harder for people to escape. So I think that the law enforcement strategies usually come too late, not because law enforcement doesn't care or isn't very, very concerned, but these shootings happen so fast that if you're depending on law enforcement to stop them, it's almost always too late. We have to do better at intercepting information to begin with, and that's not something I think the NRA is particularly concerned about.
Okay, Katherine Newman, we'll have to leave it there, but we really appreciate your analysis. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.